जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरसदा श्रीमद एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 19, Text number 26. Shutvāghādam devayāni mene prasthobhamatmanah stri pumsho sneha vaikalvyat parihasam iveritam. Shutvāghādam devayāni mene prasthobham atmanah stri pumsho sneha vaikalvyat parihasam iveritam. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. When Devayani heard Maharaj Yayati's story of the he-goat and she-goat, she understood that the story which was presented as if a funny joke for entertainment between husband and wife was intended to awaken her to her constitutional position. When one actually awakens from material life, one understands his real position as an eternal servant of Krishna. This is called liberation. Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavastitihi. Under the influence of Maya, everyone living in this material world thinks that he is the master of everything. One thinks that there is no God or controller and that one is independent and can do anything. This is a material condition, and one awakens from his ignorance. He is called liberated. Maharaj Yati had delivered Devayani from the well, and finally, as a dutiful husband, he instructed her with the story about the he goat and she goat, and thus delivered her from the misconception of material happiness. Devayani was quite competent to understand her liberated husband, and therefore she decided to follow him as his faithful wife. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhava Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, welcome to all of you for this evening session on Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we will talk about how to overcome this lust. Actually, like many times I have explained, um, this is required to forget Krishna. If you remember Krishna, we cannot enjoy. So, in order to keep us in this world, in order to make us forget Krishna, so in the beginning, Brahma created Tamishra, Andatamishra, Moha and Mahamoha and Tamas, like that. So, because of these five coverings, these are the five coverings of ignorance. Because of these five coverings, we have forgotten our our eternal relationship as a servant of Krishna, and we are struggling in this world since time immemorial, like that. So, accordingly, our the layers of lust also on in the form of vasanas and all is very deep, very deep. Like we have we come under the control of five senses. That is why Manmatha releases five arrows, right? So that is the significance. um, that by we become attracted by hearing, we become attracted by smelling, we become attracted by tasting, we become attracted by touch. So then we become attracted by seeing, like that. So it is mentioned that Madhumakhi is very much attracted by the honey in the lotus flower. Mm, we can only see lotus flower outside, but the Madhumakhi only can see the honey nectar in the lotus flower. So the Madhumakhi becomes attracted by the fragrance of lotus flower, and the Madhumakhi enters the lotus flower and very busy in drinking the honey whole day. Like, but some when it comes in the when it is in the evening time, when the sun sets, the lotus flowers friend sun, when he goes away, lotus flower closes. um, then but the Madhumakhi is so much engrossed in drinking the honey, he forgets that it is coming evening, it is evening time. uh, the lotus flower closes. The ways are ways to go out are closed, but the Madhumaki is so attracted to the fragrance of the honey. Madhumaki doesn't want to leave the lotus flower. Meanwhile, in the night time, the elephants come and crush the gardens of lotus flower, and then along with that, Madhumaki dies away. It is said that Madhumaki has got so much power to pierce the wood, but Madhumaki doesn't want to pierce the soft lotus petals of the flower because it's so attracted. So, like that, Madhumakis, they die because of one sense. In these entities, the one sense only is very powerful, very strong. So for Madhumaki, the strongest sense is sense of smell, like that. Then these there are fireflies. There are so many entities, who appear in the night time, and they become attracted to the fire, the light, and then because we become attracted to the then the fire looks very beautiful to the fireflies. Then they become attracted and they fall into the fire and they die. So in the same way, men are very attracted to seeing the beautiful features of women, and then women are attracted to seeing the beautiful features of men. So then actually the strongest sense for human beings, yeah, actually eyes only, because of seeing so many things all over. We become attracted to so many sense objects, especially opposite sex. So just like fire, firefight, fire for firefly. the fire is the enemy, like that. For a man or a woman, opposite sex is the enemy. So when they become attracted, like firefly dies, and then men and women also they die. Another living entity is elephant. Elephant is such a huge animal, got very, thousands of tons of, strength. Elephant is very strong, but very easily they capture. You know how they dig out mm, some ditches, and keep it covered, and then the other side of the ditch they keep she elephant, because the elephants are very attracted to touching the opposite sex. So his skin itches to touch the female elephant. He runs very fast to touch the female elephant, and then on the way he falls into the ditch and gets captured. That's why, in the same way, uh, you know, men and women, they want to touch each other, and then they get entangled. They get entangled, and then fourth one is taste. The fish, they get mm, they get caught, you know because the fishermen, they show some, they tie, they tie some food stuff, and then that is called bait, and then the fish, they come and get caught. In the same way, the human beings, the strongest enemy for a human being is the tongue. Jiva Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. That is why first thing that Rupa Goswami said is Jiva Vegam, very difficult sense to control, the tongue. Even though the belly is full, the tongue wants to eat all kinds of foodstuffs. The main reason, the source of lust to enter in our heart is through the tongue, because when we eat food cooked by non-devotees, Vishayar Anna Khaibo, Dushta Hayamana, Dushta Hayamana. So is very very difficult. So when we eat food cooked by non-devotees, we become very lusty, because if the other person is a lusty person, then through the food, the lust enters our heart. Then it becomes. That is why tongue, belly, and genitals, they are in the straight line. If you control the tongue, you can control the belly. If you control the belly, you can control the genitals. So, very difficult, like to control the tongue. People keep on becoming fat, but if they see the food, they cannot remain. That is why in Mahabharata and Vishnu Purana, so many niyamavali is there for eating, because if you control the tongue, then you can conquer Krishna, because the very source, mm, of the tooth, because tongue has two functions. One is eating, another is vibrating. So if you eat Krishna prasadam only, and keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can actually Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriyai Sevon Mukehi Jivado Swayameva Sprutyada. This is the verse from mm, I think Narada Pancharatra. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriyai. So Lord Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, Nama Rupa Guna Leela. These are called Krishna. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi. Adi means etc. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. So all these four are beyond our sense perception. Adokshaja. That's why Krishna is known as Adokshaja. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriyai. So by the senses, we cannot perceive Krishna, his holy name, his pastimes, his rupa, and qualities. But by engaging in the service of Krishna, starting with the tongue, mm, uh, Sevonumukhe Jivado, Swayameva Sprutyada. So first thing what we should do is engage the tongue in the service of Krishna by taking only prasadam and by vibrating the holy names of Krishna. But if you are very fond of eating food, if the belly is full, then we cannot chant also properly, because with full stomach we fall asleep while chanting. Then the last is ears, anavritti shabdaha. In this, the animal, the deer, is very attracted to the sweet songs played by the hunter, and becomes attracted. In the same way, a man becomes attracted by hearing all these various kinds of music, and by always eager to hear the sweet voice of his wife or a husband, vice versa. So this hearing only, it also plays a very important role in getting us entangled. So that is why Prabhupada says anavritti shabda means by hearing only we become entangled, and by hearing only we can become uh, uh, liberated. So when we hear about some sense objects, like how nice it is in America, life is good and all, we may become attracted. Then we become entangled. Uh, when we hear about different types of sense enjoyment, Prabhupada says the first sense to be activated when we are in the womb, around month of 3 or 4. So ears are the ears, and then when we die at the time of death, all the senses they do not work. That is why, especially throat becomes choked, the nose becomes choked, all that stuff. That is why. Um, कृष्णा त्वदीय पदपङ्कज पञ्जरान्तम् आद्ययु मे विशतु मानसराजहंसम् प्राणप्रयाण समये कफवातपित्तै कण्ठावरोधन विधौ स्मरणं कुटस्ते. So this is a verse from Mukunda Mala Stotra, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada's favorite verse. So Prabhupada says that, my dear Krishna, during the time of death, because my throat becomes choked with kaphavata pitta, how am I able to chant your holy names? Please, now I'm very young. I'm able to remember you. Please take me away right now. That is one meaning. So. Um but even though our throat becomes choked, our eyes become closed, we cannot see, we cannot walk, we cannot touch, but one sense works, that is ears. So that is why we have a custom of chanting the holy names of Narayana in the ears of a dying person. Then he will become liberated. So that is why it is said, from the womb to the tomb, one should hear about Krishna and his holy names. Because Prahlad Maharaj, he became a devotee when he heard about Krishna Katha from Nagmuni. Even though his mother slept off, Kayadu, the baby in the womb of Kayadu, he heard Krishna Katha and became a great devotee, Mahabhagavat. So, so this years also. So that is, like all of how Rishyashranga Muni became attracted to the music, and then became entangled, and then got married to Shanta. And then, of course, he's a very great man. He became the cause for Lord Rama's appearance in this world. So the acharyas, they comment that in 11th canto Bhagavatam, this was described. Then they comment that for a madhumakki, only one sense is strong, that is sense of smell. For elephant, the sense of touch. For fireflies, the sense of seeing eye. uh, then for a fish, sense of taste. And then for ears, for then for deer, the sense of hearing. So if only one sense is strong, still they become entangled. For a human being, all the five senses are very strong. You know, all the five senses are very strong. So that is why it is so difficult for to get out of this entanglement. So difficult, like that. So that is why. So this analogy is given that for a human being, one should engage all these five senses in the service of Krishna to come out of the entanglement. So that is like one must surrender to Krishna. Like it is said that. So in Chaitanya Chatamrita, it is mentioned that in the theme of this pastime of King Yati and Devyani is that even though King Yati was engaged in sense gratification for many thousands and thousands of years, the moment he realized that he should surrender to Krishna, he is the eternal servant of Krishna, he is wasting his time in sense gratification. Always remember, always remember, always after everybody after sense gratification, all of us we regret, array, I wasted my time. So when it is time, when it is time to surrender, then we become, we are unable to surrender. But for Maharaj Ayati, it is mentioned that when a bird gets its wings, as soon as it gets its wings, he flies away. In the same way, as soon as Maharaj Ayati came to understand that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, of course, Prabhupada says, like many, this is the main theme, that even though we are engaged in sense gratification, internally we should always keep desiring that I want to be eternal servant of Krishna. This is the most important point in the entire story. These three things, the take away, four things. One is, while even if somebody is engaged in material life, one should keep desiring that I want to see Sham Sundar form of Krishna, Sham Sundar Krishna, Gopi Jana Vallabha, surrounded by the gopis. Then that is the then I want to be his eternal servant. And the number two, as soon as as soon as just like a bird gets its wings, like that, as runs away, then as soon as we know that uh, we are servants of Krishna, we should surrender to Krishna. Then number three, how much ever we engage in sense gratification, our senses cannot be satisfied, so just like the fire cannot be extinguished by pouring more and more ghee, so the more we engage in sense gratification, the more distressed we become. the more distressed we become. That is like that. Like lavana katvamla lavanati vikshna tikshna vikshna vidahinah, ahara rajasa ishta dukkha shoka amaya pradaha. So Vishwanath Thakur says that a person who cannot control his senses, this is from 17th chapter, a person who cannot control his senses of the tongue, he eats like a glutton, and then after that dukkha shoka amaya prada means he becomes distressed that are I am a diabetic but I am eating sweets, thinking like that, even though momentary, for momentary pleasure we eat, something which is not to be prohibited, which is prohibited for us to eat. After that we regret, are because we are afraid that we will become sick, our diabetes will increase. So that is a shoka, means lamentation. So that is the nature of sense enjoyment. For some time we will enjoy. After that, array, many times we see boys and girls, they get the man, they fall in love, different caste people, and then they fight with the parents, and they come together. After some time they regret, array, what have I done? Why I came with this guy, and why I came with this girl. So they regret. Dukkha shoka amaya prada. The enjoyment in the mode of passion always gives distress, like that. And then fourth point is to become non-envious, and one should not desire ill fortune even for one's own enemy. So if these are the 4 points, takeaway points from this, like that. So it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshayishyati vishwaso goptrutve varnanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye sadvida sharanagati. Please remember, Prabhupada quoted this verse in 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja ham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. So what is surrender? Many people they ask, right? Today I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is yoga, right? Many people they say plus union, this and that. So another definition of yoga I got today is yoga means directly seeing Krishna face to face. That is called yoga, right? Ayoga means not able to see Krishna. So we are in a stage of middle path, trying to see Krishna, but not able to see Krishna. So real yoga, we will become real yogis, Prabhupada says, when we are directly seeing Krishna face to face. Yoga means directly seeing Krishna. That is the highest definition of yoga, like that. So here, there are, please remember, everybody should remember the 6 principles. And it is not, this is not for time pass or very nice lecture, Prabhuji. It's not for that, it's not for manoranjan. Unless we follow these 6 principles, we will not get Krishna, right? So now or before, in future, we must follow the 6 principles. So remember this: anukulasya sankalpa. Anukulasya sankalpa means the acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, right? And then pratikulasya varjanam, the rejection of unfavorable things, right? It is said that Prabhupada writes, if family members they cooperate with you in practicing Krishna consciousness, you can accept them. But if they are opposing your practice of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said you can reject them. right? You can reject them. We have seen in the life of Sri Ramanujacharya that his wife, she is a very devoted, traditional, conservative Brahmin woman coming from a Brahmin family. Ramanuja, being a Vaishnava, he hosted I think, Mahapurna, his spiritual master, who is from another caste. He's not from Brahmin family. So he and his wife, they were staying in Ramanuja's house. So Ramanuja's wife, being a conservative Brahmin lady, she would not touch the water touched by these two, couple and all that. So many times she had insulted the spiritual master of. So one day, Sri Ramanuja observed that his wife insulted the spiritual master, and they're trying to go away. So Ramanujacharya stopped them. Then he made a plan that he sent one messenger saying that some emergency is there in their house, so you please go. So he sent her off. He sent her off. Then after she went, he just took sannyas. Ramanuja. Yeah. Like in Shankar Sampradaya, there is a tradition that you cannot take sannyas without the permission of your mother. So Shankaracharya's mother is not giving permission. Then he created in the one Sarovar, he created one crocodile. And then one day he was crying, Ma, Ma, Ma. The crocodile caught me. So Ma came running. Then she was crying, my son, how, Then Shankaracharya said, at least now give me sannyas, at least mentally I will, mm, take sannyas before, unless you take, before taking sannyas, I don't want to die like that. Then she agreed. Okay, you take sannyas. Then he came out. Um, then I said. So she said, "Oh, this is cheating." So what to do? So Shankaracharya, they said, "Okay, don't worry. Whenever you call me, I will come." So when she was dying, she called out, "Shankara, Shankara, Shankara." Then I think that time he was in Badrinath. He came flying. Um, um, then he performed her last rites like that. So there are many instances, like our own Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Um, he took sannyas ratorat. He left house and like that. So when the things become unfavorable, we should reject them. So because if we give top priority for practicing Krishna consciousness, we should not hesitate to give up unfavorable things. So for us now, for unfavorable things, intoxication, gambling, and all that. So we should give up whatever which is not favorable to our Krishna consciousness. We should give it up. Then the raksha iti vishwasho, that the conviction that Krishna will give protection, right? And the fourth one is the acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master. Huh? But then full surrender and humility. Atma Nikshepa means full surrender, right? Then Karpanya, humility. So these are the six limbs of surrender, right? What are they? One is Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Varjanam, Raksha iti Vishwaso, Goptrutve Varnanam Tatha, Varanam Tatha, Atmanikshepa Karpanye, Sadvidha Sharanagata. Right? Goptrutve means in being the guardian, like the father or husband, master or maintainer. Then Varanam, accepting, Tata. Then Atmanikshepa, full surrender, like that. So a devotee, must be firmly convinced that Krishna will give him protection, right? Protection, and being firmly convinced of this is called faith, right? Krishna will give me protection. That is called faith. Sometimes Krishna will test us, uh, but we should not lose our hope, because Krishna will never uh, let go of us. That is his great mercy, like that. And then this kind of faith is different from the faith of an impersonalist who wants to merge into the Brahman effulgence, and in order to benefit by the cessation of repeated birth, right? So a devotee always wants to remain in the Lord's service, you know. So then the fourth one is the devotee should accept Krishna as his supreme maintainer and master, as his he should not think that he is being protected by a demigod. He should depend only on Krishna, considering him the only protector. So the devotee must be firmly convinced that within the three worlds, he has no protector or maintainer other than Krishna. So, in the same section, Prabhupada is writing that there are three levels of devotee. One is, Kanishta. Second one is, that is the lowest one. Second one is medium, Madhyama, and then top one is, you know, Uttamadhikari. Prabhupada says that as soon as a devotee, he's chanting Hare Krishna and all that. But at the same time, if he is worshipping demigod also, some demigod because of family tradition, or sometimes why many people they have some soft corner for Lord Shiva. Why not? Why can't we worship Lord Shiva? He's also topmost Vaishnava. This and that. You know, they sometimes out of sentiment they worship Durga Devi or some Sai Baba. This and that. So if somebody does that, in ISKCON also we see, even some Maharajas also, you know, introducing, Shiva worship and for money and all that. So that indicates that, any person, any devotee, uh, along with the chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and even being initiated, if he worships any other demigods, that means he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. He remained on the platform of Kanishta. So whatever maybe, if he simply worships only Krishna, then he comes to Madhyama, platform. So it is very important, to to consider that Krishna only is the only maintainer, not any other demigod or some powerful person in this world. Goptrutve Varnam Tatha. Then Atmanikshepa, self surrender. Self surrender means remembering that one's activities and desires are not independent, right? We are like a sold out animal, right? Prabhupada describes a devotee should be like a sold out animal. So what is meant by sold out animal? Sold out animal, suppose we sell a animal, like today is bakri. So you sell the animal, and then to somebody, then someone else becomes a proprietor of that animal. So once you sell off that animal, you don't bother about the maintenance of that animal. It is not your concern. In the same way, sold out animal, devotee purposes, a devotee should be like sold out animal. Means once you surrender yourself to Krishna, you don't have to worry, we don't have to worry about our maintenance of the body and the soul together or whatever, because that is the business of when you sell out the animal to the another owner, it is the business of that owner to take care of this animal, because in order for that to fetch good price in the market, he has to feed that animal properly. In the same way, it is the job of Krishna to protect us now, right? That is a self surrender means remembering that one's activities and desires are not independent. The devotee is completely dependent on Krishna, and he acts and thinks as Krishna desires, right? So because then we will become an instrument in the hands of Krishna. That is why Srila Prabhupada wrote when he reached Boston, Nachavo Prabhu, Nachavo. Because Krishna Prabhupada was writing, my dear Lord, why did you bring me here? All these people, they are in mode of passion and ignorance. How they will take up Krishna consciousness? If you brought me here, that means we have a plan for me. So Nachavo Prabhu, Nachavo. I am like a Katputli, in this, I am like a puppet in the hands of the puppeteer. As the puppet dances according to the tunes of the puppeteer, I also would like to dance according to your tune. So you make me dance. You make me dance. Prabhupada wrote. It's a very famous, you know, mm, uh, poem written by Prabhupada when he reached Boston. So then he acts and thinks as Krishna desires. So in the beginning, that's why Prabhupada says a devotee has no rights, right? So as no, he doesn't protest. A devotee, a real devotee, doesn't protest because whatever is happening in his life, it is happening according to Krishna's desire. So he accepts. Okay, this is what is you know ordained by Krishna. This is what this is like. This it, and that's it. We should be able to accept. So for that, we require a lot of faith. Vishwasa iti rakshayati iti vishwasa. So we should not think, oh, if it is like this, what will happen, like that. Then the last one is most important. The devotee is meek and humble, right? That's why it is said that the kingdom of the God, belongs to um, one who one who is meek and humble. One who is meek and humble. Jesus Christ says like that. I said it is mentioned. There is one. सारी उजाला उन्हीं का है जो मुस्कुराना जानता है. मस्जिद है, मंदिर है, और चर्च है, लेकिन भगवान उन्हीं का है जो सर झुकाना झुकाना जानता है. ऐसा कुछ शायरी है. So like that, people go there, but God belongs to somebody who knows how to bend his head and surrender to accept offer obeisance to Krishna, like that. So the living entity's position is to be under the protection of the illusory energy or under Krishna's personal protection. So these are the two choices we have: either be under the illusory protection of Maya Devi, or Krishna's personal protection. We have to choose. Then accordingly, Krishna arranges our life. When a living entity is fully surrendered, uh, he is under the direct protection of Krishna, and Krishna gives him all intelligence by which he can advance in spiritual realization. The non-devotee, however, being under the protection of the illusory energy, increasingly forgets his relationship with Krishna. So sometimes it is asked, you know, uh, how Krishna causes one to forget. Krishna personally causes his devotee. You know, so these are the two things. Krishna personally causes his devotee to forget material activities, and through the agency of Maya, Krishna causes the non-devotee to forget his devotion service to the Lord. This is called apohana. So it's very important. It all depends like that. This is a uh, very beautiful verse. Garutmate supakshatam, um, Giridhara uh, Giridandre Dhiratam, Udanvati Gabiratam, Amrita Dita Saumyatam, Vivashvate cha Deeptatam, like that. It is mentioned that the Lord bestowed, you know, wings of speed on Garuda, endowed the Himalayas with strength and stability, strength and stability, and gave fathomless depth to the ocean, pleasing appearance to the moon, and brilliance to the sun. Then he deliberated deeply, combined all these virtues, and gave them to a person whom the world would call a Mahabhagavata. So if you see, Srila Prabhupada has all these qualities, right? The Lord bestowed wings of speed on Garuda, endowed the Himalayas with strength and stability, gave fathomless depth to the ocean, pleasing appearance to the moon, and brilliance to the sun. Then he deliberated deeply, combined all these virtues, and gave them to a person whom the world would call a noble soul. Prabhupada once Sasarup Maharaj wrote a letter to Prabhupada saying that Prabhupada, I am being troubled by lust. Then Prabhupada said, surrender unto my lotus feet. I will kick the Maya Devi with my left foot, or I'll kick the Mr. Lust with my left foot. So, when the we can only, it is said that we can only give up lusty desires only by the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord, right? When he understands, when a pure devotee understands that we want to sincerely want to serve Krishna, then he will tell Krishna to remove the Maya, not to bother uh, my devotee. Then Krishna obliges. So that is why it is very important to please Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments?